satisfaction ratings ang social weather stations para sa mga sangay ng gobyerno sa unang quarter ng 2019. Sa Senado, naitala ang pinakamataas na net satisfaction rating sa lahat ng institusyon ng gobyerno na positive 62 o very good ngayong March 2019. Mas mataas ito ng 4 na puntos sa positive 58 noong December 2018. 72% ng mga Filipino ang nagsabing sila ay nasiyahan sa trabaho ng gobyerno o ng Senado, habang 10% naman ang hindi nasisiyahan. Ito na ang pinakamataas na rating ng Senado mula sa positive 67 noong August 2012. Nasa record high na positive 47 points ang naitala sa Kamara, positive 50 points sa Korte Suprema at positive 44 points naman sa kasalukuyang administrasyon. Ang first quarter survey ng SWS ay isinagawa noong March 28 hanggang 31 sa pamamagitan ng face-to-face interviews sa 1,440 adults sa buong bansa. Samantala, mainit na panahon pa rin ang mararanasan ngayong araw sa malaking bahagi ng bansa dahil sa easterlies. Ayon sa Pag-asa, makararanas ang Bicol Region, Visayas at Mindanao ng bahagyang maulap hanggang sa maulap na papawirin na mayroong isolated na mga pag-ulan at thunderstorms. Ang Metro Manila naman at nalalabi pang bahagi ng Luzon ay makararanas lang ng bahagyang maulap hanggang sa maulap na papawirin at mayroong pag-ulan dahil sa localized thunderstorms. Babala ng Pag-asa, ang biglaan at malalakas na buhos ng ulan ay maaaring magdulot ng flash floods. At yan ang mga balita para sa oras na ito. Abangan ang iba pang mga balita mamayang alas 10:30 ng umaga sa Agila, Pilipinas. Mula sa Eagle News Service, ako si Phoebe Publico and I'm 125.
We live in interesting times. Today's stories. Indigenous Brazilians slam national media. Turtle power, near-extinct terrapins make a Cambodian comeback. Tensions rise in Sierra Leone over temporary industrial fishing ban. Illegal wildlife trade thrives on Myanmar-China border. Climate activists end the 11-day protest that shut down the capital. Pakistan's polio vaccination teams battle misinformation and violence. Ivory Coast scientist is skeptical over use of anti-malaria plant. Plus, LA hockey fans remain loyal to their Kings. Hello everyone, I am Rose Papa Angeles, bringing you stories from around the globe. And this is Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Indigenous Brazilians and independent journalists say that the national media in Brazil is ignoring the plight of the Amazon. Many indigenous people are in the capital Brasilia demanding better protection of their lands from miners, loggers, and farmers.
Então, quem banca, quem financia essas mídia impressa é o jornalista, é os deputados que não gostam de indígena, é os donos da fazenda que financia, é o próprio jornalista que eu falo que são os plantadores de soja, de milho, são esses, agropecuária.
Tornar o invisível visível, dar voz a quem não tem voz, é importante. E isso, de uma certa forma, nunca foi uma pauta importante para a grande imprensa, né? Então, eu acredito que é por isso que se secundariza, né? É por isso que causas justas também, a secundarização também. Há muito racismo contra os indígenas, há muito preconceito, né?
Dá pra ver que tem muitos jornalistas por aqui, mas eu cheguei em casa ontem, fui procurar as notícias sobre o acampamento e eu não achei muita coisa nos grandes veículos de comunicação. Achei mais nos pequenos sites, na mídia independente. Eu acho que eles estão se dedicando a essa cobertura mais extensa.
20 critically endangered royal turtles were released into a remote stretch of a Cambodian river Friday. A species once feared extinct because of hunting, trafficking, and illegal sand mining. The reptiles inch into the Srey River system in southwestern Phra Sihanouk province. Conservationists hope they will form new breeding populations. Cambodia is home to several populations of endangered turtles, coveted as delicacies in traditional medicine in Vietnam and China. Royal turtles, formerly classified as southern river terrapins, have been pushed to the brinks of extinction by hunting and sand mining, which destroy the banks where they lay their eggs. The damage was so severe that in 2000 they were feared wiped out in Cambodia before nests were found and a careful conservation effort began.
យើងហេតុមូលហេតុដែលយើងប្រឡែងនេះគឺយើងក្នុងគោលបំណងដើម្បីស្ដារនៅចំនួនរបស់វាក្នុងធម្មជាតិដោយសារចំនួនរបស់វាមានការធ្លាក់ចុះជាខ្លាំងយើងសង្ឃឹមថាដើមទាំងអស់នេះនឹងអាចកាត់ពូជនៅពេលខាងមុខដើមហ្នឹងយើងធ្វើការអភិរក្សតាំងពីយើងពេលដែលវាញាស់មកយើងយកក្រុមការងារយើងយកមកចាំនៅក្នុងមជ្ឈមណ្ឌលតាំងពីញាស់រហូតដល់នៅដើមទាំងអស់នេះមានអាយុប្រហែលជា12 13ឆ្នាំហើយ
In Sierra Leone, the enforcement of a 30-day ban on industrial fishing is proving challenging. The government decided to enforce the ban for the month of April in a bid to allow fish stocks to replenish. But a lack of resources to effectively monitor marine activity is making the task difficult, while traditional fishermen are arguing that the ban is not long enough to make a difference.
When it allow them come back at this country, 1980, from that time up to now, the fish don't less, the power don't less.
So there is evidence with respect to the composition of the catch. We are now having very smaller size fishes. And I mean, it's getting worse and worse. So the government thought, I mean, even though we have not completed the research on it, as a precautionary measure, we can close the season.
On this solar, they know they give me chance. Me bring the solar and put me down. He pull me property. I did have left zero, nothing to nothing no get.
If you have an enhanced capability, it makes your work lot easier. Wherein we have more than one offshore patrol vessel, then we'll have been having the flexibility of tasking one vessel down south and the other one up north, and one even in standby. But now we are talking of just one vessel, offshore patrol vessel one. So that is a challenge in itself.
The illegal wildlife trade is thriving on the Myanmar-China border in a territory governed by the secretive ethnic Wa. The Myanmar-China border has become a supermarket for illegally traded wildlife. This area of Myanmar is largely self-governed, lying within the country's border but playing by its own rules, nestled in the eastern range of mountains and cut off from the rest of the country. Instead, the region looks to China. The yuan is the currency of choice. Most people speak Mandarin and phones.
North and one even in standby. But now we are talking of just one vessel, offshore patrol vessel one. So that is a challenge in itself.
The illegal wildlife trade is thriving on the Myanmar-China border in a territory governed by the secretive ethnic Wa. The Myanmar-China border has become a supermarket for illegally traded wildlife. This area of Myanmar is largely self-governed, lying within the country's border but playing by its own rules, nestled in the eastern range of mountains and cut off from the rest of the country. Instead, the region looks to China. The yuan is the currency of choice. Most people speak Mandarin and phones connect to Chinese, not Myanmar networks. It is also the insatiable Chinese demand for illegal wildlife products that is driving the booming trade in Pangsang, a reclusive city to the north of Mongla in territory controlled by the ethnic Wa. Tiger and leopard's pelts are piled up in full view at street-side shops, also displaying ivory, pangolin scales, and stacked cages of rare birds. Worldwide Fund for Nature WWF Conservation Director Nick Cox says the open sale of the illegal products is a problem, not just for Myanmar but for the region, calling it a wildlife supermarket.
Okay, so we can see here a number of skins from cat species: leopard, golden cat, marbled cat. We've got a tiger in the background there. So there's also some live birds for the pet trade, and some more skins here. As long as these shops are open, as long as they're openly selling all of these products, then it's a problem not just for wildlife in Myanmar but also in this region, because this is somewhat of a wildlife supermarket as well. So Myanmar has long been thought to be a hub for global wildlife trade, and for sure some of these products that you can see here have come from outside of the country as well. So placing wire snares in the forest has had a devastating impact in places like Vietnam and Laos, and more recently in Cambodia, and we're starting to see it in Myanmar, and that's a big concern for us, because all poaching, we want zero poaching of all wildlife, so that we don't see this, because this represents what should be in these forests, right? So,
coming up, climate activists end the 11-day protest that shut down the capital. Pakistan's polio vaccination teams battle misinformation and violence. Ivory Coast scientist is skeptical over use of anti-malaria plants. Eagle News, Washington, D.C. will be right back.
Hey guys, I'm here in New Jersey, the diner capital of the world. Tune in to Digital Nest on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. I'm Nikki, and I'm 1 with 25.
Ako po si Rachel Alejandro. Abangan niyo po ako sa Young Once Upon a Time Season 3, alas 8 ng gabi, dito lang sa Net 25.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Climate change activists from Extinction Rebellion end 11 days of festive but highly disruptive rallies with a closing ceremony and a cleanup of their main base at London's Marble Arch.
I think it's definitely gotten normal people in the public talking. When it comes to politicians, to be honest, I think they'll only make little changes now, and we're going to have to do this again even bigger and better in a couple of months. They have listened, but I don't think they've really took at home how bad this is.
Well, I think this ceremony marks a sort of close to the mass occupations here in London. Obviously there's an ongoing rebellion around the world which has started, and that's not going to stop.
Environmentalists glue themselves to the London Stock Exchange entrance and stage impromptu concerts in the middle of traffic on the final day of a campaign that brought parts of the UK capital to a halt. Activists from Extinction Rebellion, a fast-growing movement founded last year by British academics, have used 11 days of festive but highly disruptive rallies to focus global attention on climate change. Their ultimate goal is to slash greenhouse gas emissions to zero by 2025 and to end biodiversity loss. But their immediate aim was to get UK politicians to look past hot-button issues such as Brexit and come up with ways to save the planet from damage that younger generations think will hurt them most. Extinction Rebellion members said their campaign drew plenty of public attention but failed to get the government to budge. An aide to UK Environment Secretary Michael Gove said no meeting had been scheduled with campaigners, but that one might possibly happen next week. The protest outside the London Stock Exchange, building that stands in the shadow of St. Paul's Cathedral, saw several glue themselves to the pavement in front of one of the glass entrance turnstiles. One person wearing a gas mask also chained himself to one of the sleek building's stone columns. Extinction Rebellion estimated the top banks have poured $1.9 trillion or 1.7 billion euros into fossil fuel financing since the Paris Agreement on dealing with greenhouse gases was signed in 2016. The group staged similar protests outside the entrances of the Bank of England and the UK Treasury. Activists had earlier targeted high-profile and tourist-heavy locations such as the Oxford and Piccadilly Circus junctions. They also camped out on a statue-filled square facing the Parliament building and potted plants and flowers on a central bridge. Their tactics of sitting down in the middle of busy roads and refusing peacefully to move have generated media headlines. But some activists admitted many Londoners were mystified as to why the group thinks such tactics will help stop climate change. The entire campaign saw police make 1,130 arrests and press charges against 69 people. Retired engineer Godfrey Whitehouse said he spent 3 nights in a police station holding cell. The London campaign's closing act saw activists wash protest signs off the pavement and pack up the trash outside the Marble Arch Monument, where they had spent days camping out on the edge of Hyde Park.
They start to change. They start being so selfish. They stop being so about me, about my business, about my neighborhood, about my conditions, about my habits, and they are beginning to wake. They're beginning to wake up. You know,
it's exceeded my expectations. It really has, and I think the only way you can do that is to disrupt things and cause a bit of friction, which we try to do in the most peaceful and non-violent way. So I think.
Polio workers are accompanied by police as they administer vaccines in Islamabad. April has been a violent month for Pakistan's polio campaign, with at least 3 people killed this week, while thousands of parents have refused to allow their children to be inoculated amid a deluge of anti-vaccine content on social media.
Previously, we used to have 200 or 300 refusals in the entire campaign. But this time around, after this fake video went viral in Peshawar, after the Peshawar incident, we are having almost 2,600 or 2,500 refusals per day, meaning thereby in entire Islamabad we are having 10,000 refusals. And all our energies are focused upon covering those refusals. The percentage of religious refusals has significantly gone down. What is pinching us is actually the fake or negative social media propaganda.
Flanked by armed guards, polio workers fanned out in the slums of Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, after a bloody week of fatal attacks on health workers threatened to derail an ongoing vaccination drive. The violence coincided with an outbreak of hysteria in cities across northwest Pakistan after rumors of children suffering from adverse reaction to a polio vaccine sparked panic, with tens of thousands rushed to hospitals. An official report later said a pre-planned conspiracy was responsible for the panic but provided few details. The incident fed festering suspicions about the vaccine campaign, with authorities saying dozens of polio workers had been beaten, stoned, and harassed, and one health clinic burned to the ground in the episode's wake. Undeterred health workers have continued to inoculate thousands of children with or without security, while public health officials have argued with reluctant parents, pleading with them to vaccinate their children. More than 250,000 health workers are involved in the campaign. In a slum on the outskirts of Islamabad, parents cradled wailing youngsters as staff administered oral doses of the vaccine, while neighbors crowded around to watch as police scanned the surroundings. Across the capital in an upscale apartment block, a Pakistani health worker spent time convincing mothers and fathers who had earlier refused to allow their children to be vaccinated. Polio is endemic in only 3 countries globally: Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Nigeria, although a relatively rare strain was also detected in Papua New Guinea last year. Polio vaccination campaigns have faced stubborn resistance for years in Pakistan. Opposition to myriad forms of inoculation skyrocketed after the CIA organized a fake vaccination drive to help track down Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden in the garrison town of Abbottabad, where U.S. forces later killed a militant leader in 2011. Some Taliban and hardline religious figures have been known to fan rumors that vaccines contain ingredients forbidden in Islam, such as pork derivatives, or that can cause infertility as part of a conspiracy to reduce the population. Attacks by militants have also been frequent, with nearly 100 people killed in assaults targeting vaccine teams since 2012. Despite the opposition, campaigners have reported progress, with tens of millions of children vaccinated across the country, along with a 96% drop in reported polio cases since 2014.
But as Pakistan nears its goal for righting polio from its territory, new headwinds have arisen amid a growing global movement against inoculation. The anti-vax phenomenon has attracted adherents worldwide, fueled by medically baseless claims and proliferated by social media, resulting in a resurgence of once eradicated highly contagious diseases. In recent months, Pakistani social media has also been inundated with fake news reports and videos, garnering hundreds of thousands of views and shares in the last week alone, claiming numerous children have been killed by the polio vaccine. Public health experts says the misinformation has inflamed already existing distrust of vaccine campaigns, resulting in a threefold jump in refusals by parents to vaccinate their children in the last 2 years.
बाज़ लोग ऐसे भी हैं कि जो अच्छा बिहेव नहीं करते, मतलब बदतमीज़ी भी करते हैं, दरवाज़ा ज़ोर से मुंह पे मार देना, बंद कर देना, बात ना सुनना, बस इस तरीके से भी काफ़ी मतलब लोगों का इशू आ रहा है। हमारी जॉब के लिए सबसे बड़ा मसला यही है कि मतलब लोग सिक्योरिटी नहीं है हमारे साथ, सबसे ज़्यादा इशू इसी बात का, लोग यही बात कहते हैं कि आप अकेली आ जाती हैं, आपके साथ कोई मतलब हो सिक्योरिटी वाला तो हमें भी हो कि वाकई में आप एक हेल्थ वर्कर हैं या कुछ, ये है। बाकी लोग पेशावर का जो वाक़या हुआ है उसके हवाले से काफ़ी मतलब डरे हुए हैं और नहीं पिलाना चाहते और काफ़ी मतलब मिसबिहेव भी करते हैं लोग।
अच्छी है जी, बच्चा ने पुरानी चाहिए नहीं और आप माँ के वो आते हैं, हमारे बच्चे पीते हैं, कोई परेशानी वाली बात नहीं है।
Touted by its supporters as a miracle solution to malaria in Africa, the use of varieties of the Artemisia plant, widely grown in Ivory Coast, is a cause for concern for the scientific community. Scientists remain skeptical about its effectiveness and concerned about its side effects.
Dire qu'il faudrait l'utiliser avec beaucoup d'intelligence en permettant l'extraction de l'artémisinine qui sera combinée à une molécule partenaire dans une combinaison thérapeutique, à base d'artémisinine. Je rappelle, c'est 2 médicaments, l'artémisinine plus une molécule partenaire pour une bonne prise en charge et pour éviter toute survenue de résistance à l'artémisinine.
Voilà. C'est la cause la plus fréquente de consultation, c'est Jacqueline. Si 10 malades, au moins 6 font les paludisme, on peut dire que c'est la première cause de consultation ici à Jacqueline.
When we come back, LA hockey fans remain loyal to their Kings. Eagle News Washington, D.C. will return shortly.
Desisyon ng Bayan 2019. Ito ang pinakamalawak na election coverage. Ihahatid ng pinalakas na puwersa ng Eagle News Service at EBC News Bureaus sa iba't ibang panig ng Pilipinas. Tutukan ang mga pangyayari ngayong halalan. Hatid sa inyo ng Net25, Radyo Agila, Pinas FM, EagleNews.ph, EagleNewsLive.com. Katuwang ang daan-daang correspondence sa iba't ibang panig ng bansa mula Batanes hanggang taon-taon. Desisyon ng Bayan 2019, ang EBC Special Coverage.
Hey there, Arnie Aquino here at Hatley Castle, one of the filming locations for the X-Men series. Don't forget to tune in to Digital Nest only on Net25.
Letters and Music, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 1:00 hanggang 2:00 ng hapon.
This is Eagle News Washington, D.C. I am Rose Papa Angeles. For EBC Sports, hockey fans remain loyal to their Los Angeles Kings. Eva and Alan Basayahe with the details.
The LA Kings win tonight against their Las Vegas rivals. The Golden Knights breaks the regular season series tie with Los Angeles, winning 3 out of 5 games.
But even with the 5-2 win, are Kings fans still willing to tough it out after a season that ended with their team at the bottom of the division?
It's been a rough year, this one, being kind of down at the bottom, but we're moving forward, so I think it'll be good. I think next season will be better, I'm hoping. I'm hopeful, at least.
We're in a little bit of a down cycle now, but we have some opportunity to pick up some good players, and I think we'll be coming back soon.
Kings fans that have been with the team for years, we know what it's like to struggle, and always, once a Kings fan, always a Kings fan, never give up.
You know, it's still really a lot of fun to come to games. We've got a really great fan base here in Los Angeles. We always have, even before we won the Stanley Cup. I think we're talking about what next season looks like, but we're still really excited just to watch hockey here in Los Angeles. Over the last couple of years since we've won the Stanley Cup, the league has gotten a lot faster. A lot of young talent in the league these days.
I think they need to get younger. Think they need to get faster. And I think we have some great opportunities with kids coming up.
I think better offense. I think we got to be better on scoring goals early in the game and keeping that going strong through the end, because I think we kind of taper off at the end of the season.
Showing appreciation to die-hard fans was important for the Kings organization. Before, attendees were treated to a variety of activities and entertainment.
And it's always and forever, go Kings, go!
During games and many free giveaways brought out the great excitement of the crowd. And even after the game, jerseys were given away to selected lucky fans. But it was the match against a team that swept the Kings last season in the playoffs that commanded the most attention.
2 goals were scored by the visiting Knights, both in the second period, while the Kings' scoring was more spread out, with Kovalchuk and Carter scoring in the first, Matt Roy contributing in the second, and in the third period, Kopitar and Kovalchuk recorded the last 2 goals for LA. With this being the last game of the season, loyal Kings fans took each and every opportunity to cheer for their home team. Hey, hey, hey. Willie Desjardins spoke about the grit of his players and of his experience coaching this Kings team.
For me, it's to look at the good things. Like I have a lot of respect for the guys in that room. We went into some tough situations this year where, I knew it would be tough for us to find a way to win, and we found ways to win. I think of Jonathan Quick had a tough game. We bring him back, and man, he plays great. Played great tonight. We have a lot of character, and guys care. Like Martinez and Brown, guys are beat up, and the young guys too. So for me, when I look back, it's not one moment. It was an honor to coach the team. It's a great franchise, and it was great to be part of it.
Could new additions like Blake Lizotte and a change-up in the roster bring LA back to the glory days of the postseason?
We'll have to wait for October to see if the Kings of Los Angeles can oust any and all challengers to the throne. Reporting from the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California, this is Eva and Alan for Eagle News, and we are 1 with 25.
Thanks, Eva and Alan. That is today's Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Join us tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at eaglenews.ph and eaglenewslive.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenewsph. Thank you for watching. I am Rose Papa Angeles, and I am 1 with 25.